All right, Kristen, thank you very, very much. We really appreciate it. Dave is going to be watching the questions as you post them, and if he feels that there's something that I need to answer right there at that point, he'll go ahead and pick one of those selectively, and then I'll go ahead and answer it. But we want you to get a lot out of this, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and start with a poll question just to kind of feel you guys out and see who's attending. By the way, I am blown away by the popularity of this webinar that we're having here. We're getting a significant amount of people very, very happy. Matter of fact, it's so successful, we'll be having the same webinar again. Okay, so let me go ahead and poll, and I'm going to go ahead and open the poll, so watch your screen. Okay, are you currently using the AccuZIP6's licensed NCOALink service? Go ahead and, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and answer that question, and we'll go ahead and close the poll here in just a moment. You guys are very prompt. We appreciate it. Nearly 83% have already replied. And I will try to speak up as loud as I can, make sure that everybody hears me. Okay. All right, we're just about to close the poll, so everybody get their vote in. Okay, we're closing the poll right now. And here are your results. Not too shabby. 61% of you attending today's webinar use the NCOALink service. We hope you're happy with it. We do our best here to make sure that it's running smoothly. So we really appreciate it. For those of you who are not, hopefully after today, you'll see the light and see that this is a really good service that you can provide to your customers as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hide the results. Okay, let's move on to the AccuZip postal software. The first, what I'm going to do is we've created a sample database. I'm going to choose Open List. You're all familiar with the AccuZIP6 interface. I'm going to go ahead and click Select an Input File. And the file I'm going to work with today is, I've created a separate folder called Webinar. This is a comma-separated file of about 40,000 records. So I'm going to go ahead and check Use Header, and AccuZip automatically maps our fields. I'm going to go ahead and allow it to parse the name since it all appears in the same field. We're going to always map it to our field called First. So if you're not an NCO user, you begin to use it, it's very important that you map the full name to our field called First. AccuZip can then parse it properly. Even if you don't check the parse address or the parse first name, AccuZip will do that automatically through the NCOA process, and your data will stay intact in the database itself. So I'm also going to optimize the database for speed, and I'm going to validate the records. So let's go ahead and click Import. AccuZip will import it over 130 million records per hour, and now I'm going to go ahead and click Optimize. And what optimization is going to do is it's going to speed up the performance of processing a list. So I highly recommend that every list you bring in, that you optimize the database. Now, you don't have to necessarily check all of the options, but some of the options that are important are resize field widths and order database. As far as the other checkboxes, it's your preference. So I'm going to go ahead and click Optimize. And then the Validate Records window pops up. So everybody's familiar with this window. You can add all of the different pieces of information, the additional check digit. You can add line of travel. You do all your parsed address information. But the most important thing, and what we're talking about specifically today, is the NCOALink. So for your 40% that don't have the NCOALink process, in order to become compliant and start complying with the new NCOA rules or move update rules effective November 23rd, we've made it simple. You just simply check this box. Now when you check the NCOALink box, and then you must choose the person or the entity that owns that list. Okay? When you do that, then AccuZip automatically checks the preserve original address information. Now that's really important because once the addresses have been updated in your database, you know the address field gets standardized, correct? Once it's finished, the NCOA process will update the address field as well, including the city, the state, and the zip. Once we're finished processing this list, we're going to go ahead and analyze the data so you can see the extra NCOALink fields that were added to the database as well. NCOALink contains approximately 60 million permanent changes of address records that were filed, if you moved, for example, filed with the U.S. Postal Service within the last 18 months. Our licensed NCOALink service provides the AccuZIP6 customers the ability to process your names and addresses to help drastically reduce your undeliverable as address mail. So by processing your list with NCOA, you're going to pick up the changes of address. You're going to know who's moved, who's left forwarding information, what their new address information is before you mail it, and that's the whole point of this, is to catch this stuff so it enters the mail stream and it goes to the appropriate place. If you notice this little plus sign here next to the NCOALink, that indicates that on my computer I have also enabled AccuLink. Now, AccuLink is an enhancement to the NCOALink and provides an additional 30 months and approximately 100 million additional permanent changes of address filed with the U.S. Postal Service to help match names and addresses that are between 19 months and 48 months. Okay? And we're going to explain the benefit of AccuLink a little bit later. Now, it's important that you complete a processing acknowledgement form. When you're a provider, when you're a list provider, and you have and you're providing services for people, your customers own their list. They're going to give you their mailing list, and you're going to process it through NCOA only after you have had them complete a processing acknowledgement form. Now, the processing acknowledgement form, let me go ahead and open it. So we provide this for you inside of the AccuZIP6 5.0 folder, in the Forms folder. And Dave also will email you a current NCOALink processing acknowledgement form. And basically, you'll just have this form up, and you're going to type in the list owner's name, so the company you're doing the mailing for, and you'll complete the form. The bottom part of the form, you're going to check whether you're a broker or a list administrator. Most of the time, you're going to be a broker because you're providing the service for someone else, because you're a separate entity. But if for any clarification on this, we can provide you documentation. Down here at the bottom, you're going to fill in your information. Once you fill it out completely, you're going to sign it, fax it back to us, and then once we've approved it, which only takes a few minutes, we provide you what you need, an encrypted file that puts the customer's name, your customer's name, in this little drop down. So when you process their list, you just simply select their name. You can script this stuff. It's very, very simple. So, and we do scrutinize the NCOA processing acknowledgement form. It's very important that you have one for each customer. You have to fill them out just one time per year. It's pretty simple. You don't do it each time you do their mailing. Okay, so now that we have NCOALink checked, I'm going to go ahead and click Validate. Now, what the software is doing now is it's CAS certifying the addresses. It's not performing NCOA at this point. So all of this is done in your desktop, and this is processing 44,685 records. Once this has been CAS certified, the information will be compressed and encrypted with using 128-bit encryption and then uploaded to our server. Now, the processing time on our server for 44,000 records is about 10 seconds. And then the list is then downloaded back to your computer where your list has been updated. So this isn't going to add very much time to your existing process. So to become compliant, because you're an AccuZIP6 customer, pretty darn easy. So now the list has been zip+4 coded. The list is now being uploaded to the server. Okay, the list has been uploaded to the server. Now we're just simply waiting for that list to come back. Should come back very shortly. And a typical list of 10,000 records would take about 1 or 2 seconds. So the 44,000 records is completely done. Now a PDF document was created, which is your NCOA results. And then the screen pops up and lets us know exactly how many records were modified. We have 44,000 records in the database. There were 3,588 moves or records updated. 1,121 of them were A&K matches. That means they were matches between 19 and 48 months. And then the balance of those, the COAs, those were records in your database that now have a brand new address, where otherwise we would have sent the 44,000 records out and 2,359 of them would have went to the wrong address, would have went to where they used to live. So now I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now our list has been updated. Just like we were CAS certifying, we can do the NCOA process all at the same time. Pretty cool. Now the report that was generated, I'm going to go ahead and open up the AccuZip folder. This report was generated automatically after the processing time. So let me go ahead and open it up. All right, and let's see, can everybody, Dave and Kristen, and can you see the entire screen? Go ahead and let me know. I just want to make sure you can see it from left to right. Okay, very good. So now we have moves that occurred back here in 2004, and it gives us a count and the percentage, and it also lets us know how many individual, how many family moves, and how many business moves. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down a little bit. There's all the moves in 2005. There's all the moves in 2006. As you can see, as we get further down here, this far right column, that's the moves between 19 and 48 months, you see how they become 0, because now we're within the 18-month period. So out of the 48,000 records, there are 3,588 moves, and now we see exactly how many individual moves there were, how many family moves, and how many business matches there were. So this report's kind of cool. You can send this to your customer and archive it. Let's go ahead and exit out of here. Now when you begin using the NCOALink service, one of our we'll be providing a new update shortly that will actually populate the fields on your mailing statement to show that you are in compliance in using the a move update process. Now there are several move update processes you can use. NCOALink is one of them, and I'll show that to you later in the slideshow. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, I want to see how many, I want to see the moves, I want to see the changes of address. So I'm going to pull down my select menu. I'm going to choose show, and then I'm going to come over here to NCOALink matches. All right, so now I want AccuZip to show me all of the matches that occurred between now and 18 months. I can show just individual matches, all of the changes of address, moved and left no forwarding, and so forth. But right now I want to look at all the matches that occur between 0 and 18 months, regardless if there's a new address. So here you go. So now AccuZip is showing us here, this is their old address. Remember, we preserved that for you, and then we put their brand new address right here. So this all in line, you can go from point A to point B, do your pre-sort, and print your labels without modifying or changing any methods that you're using right now. So we've really nicely integrated this, and so you can see here, these are all the moves. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, you're also going to have, for example, this one. This shows that it was a move, you see, back in 2008 in April, but there is no move on file, you see? And the NCOA codes are documented in our manual, our online manual, so you can see exactly what each one of these mean. We're also going to print out some reports that'll list this for you, and you can add your logos and all that good stuff. So these are some of the 0 to 18. Now we're going to go ahead and look at go into here. Give me just a second. And we're going to go ahead and look at the 19 to 48 months. Now these are the A and K matches. These are all the moves that occurred from 19 months to 48 months. None of these we will give you the new change of address. But what A and K does provide to you is now you know something you didn't otherwise. So you can make a marketing decision whether you want to mail these pieces. We know for a fact that Robert no longer lives at this address. If there was a move, for example, and they left no forwarding, and it was between 19 and 48 months, you're definitely going to know that. So we show you all those moved and left no forwarding, or if their box was closed, all the way through 48 months. Only when there's an address match, when there is a move where they actually have a brand new address, which are all the return codes that are either A, 91, or 92, and it's an A and K match. That means after 19 months and on. Only in those situations we're not going to give you the new address. But A and K, what the value of A and K does, is very, very valuable, is it provides to you now something you didn't know otherwise, so you can make a better decision. The cool thing is because we provide unlimited access, that means you can process millions of records every single day. You can isolate these records and then send only these records and only the A91 and 92s, the ones that are guaranteed to have a move on file. You can send those records to a full service provider. AccuZip can export it specifically for the provider, and when you get the list back, AccuZIP6 can automatically update the list from whatever list provider that you received it from using our command window. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and show you a few other selects. And then we're going to go ahead and choose Move Left No Forwarding. So as you can see here, all of these records have moved with, and they have no forwarding information. So we naturally don't want to pre-sort these. So what we can do is, with AccuZip, we can say, okay, let's go ahead and delete those records. Delete the selection, and now those records are flagged for deletion and will not be pre-sorted. So now you can see that we didn't permanently delete them, but we have flagged them for deletion, so they're not included in the pre-sort. You may or may not also want to include any records that are A and K matches. So you can easily select Show 19 to 48 months, and from these records you can also flag them for deletion, so they're not pre-sorted, or better yet, if you absolutely want to mail them to these people, what you can do is either in our label template, you can put or current resident, or you could remove this name and put or current resident, so you're not mailing to the person, because there's nothing worse than to receive mail that was addressed to someone else. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to ask the second poll question. Let me come down. How long do you think it will take an average list to process 100,000 records through our licensed NCOA service? Now, see, it's not really fair. It's not really fair that the nearly 69% of you that use the service, you already know. But it's the other 39%. This will be quite interesting. Now, with most NCOA services, go ahead, we have about 83% reporting. With most services that you submit your names and addresses to, and we'll be showing you some of them today, they have a 3-hour or 4-hour expedited service. So you submit your names, within 3 or 4 hours you'll receive it back, and then you can do your mailing. With ours, it's real time. That means that when you click the Validate Records button, that list is uploaded and it's processed and back on your computer with very, very little time. So now with 92%, we're almost there. I'm going to be closing in just a few minutes. And some of you may have experience with other services out there like Anchor and List Cleanup and Peachtree, a variety of other services. Some of you may have used other software products that process lists through an interface similar to this, but we feel ours is very, very good. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and close the poll, and here are the results. So the 66% that said less than a minute are correct. So to process 100,000 records through our NCOA service is going to take you less than a minute. So it's not going to slow down your process to become compliant. So what the post office is attempting to do is reduce all of the undeliverable mail. Quite a bit. And there's literally billions and billions of undeliverable mail called UAA traveling through the mail stream every single day. And it's unbearable. So what they're trying to do is, of course, get people to be proactive, and what that will do is help keep costs down. Okay, so I have the list up here. I'm going to go ahead and hide the results. Thank you all for being attentive, and we really appreciate it. We're going to get to some real nice juicy stuff here soon. So once we've done the list, what do we do next? Well, it'd be kind of nice to print out some reports for our customers. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the print button, or I can pull down File, down to Print, and choose Reports. So what I've done is I've listed the reports that I want to print. The first one is a brand new report that if you would like it, it'll be in the next update. It's an enhanced cash report. A lot of you have been requesting it. We also have some NCOALink ANK move by recency report. We have the NCOA ANK count on NICSI report. And we have quite a few reports here that are very informational for your customer. And the cool thing about them is that all of them can have your logo. So if you have a company logo, a website address, all that stuff, you need to modify our report. You need to add your logo in there. Really simple to do. This way that every single piece of material that goes out of your office and into your customer's hands and lays on their desk, or they take it to the post office or whatever, you're spreading the word that you provide this type of service in these beautiful looking reports. Okay, so what I'm doing is now I'm generating everything to a PDF. Now very shortly we're going to be providing an update for everyone, free of charge, that will not only create PDF documents, but will also create HTML, JPEG, TIFF, and the brand new Microsoft XPS format. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the sample e-reports. And then eventually XML. So this is a brand new report, and if you want it, you can. It'll be in the very next update, which should be early next week. So when you install the update, it'll automatically install, and you can choose it. Right here, it gives you a breakdown of all of the CAS results, including all of the NCOA results. And we'll scroll down the list here. Now this is a really nice report, very detailed. A lot of customers have been asking for this report. And we actually, Dave actually made this report, did a great job on the report. The software is very, very customizable. You can make many changes to the, to meet your needs with the report. See, I've added the logo here. This is our logo. Our logo, by the way, does not print on these reports. I've added the logo for this session. You can add your logo, have it scaled automatically to size. You can also set up AccuZip, a hot folder, for example, to drag and drop logos in there, like your customer logos if you wanted to. And then as you print the report, it would replace, for example, my logo with your customer's logo or your logo. I would definitely add your website address, your email address, your telephone numbers to these reports. So that's the very first report. And notice that when we generated the PDF document, that the PDF document is bookmarked. Makes it very convenient now to go to the next report, which is the move by recency report. Okay, and this gives you a more consolidated view of all of the moves within each year by month. And the only months that we're going to display are the months that actually have a value. And you'll find that we do that often. Like when you print the mailing statements out, there are many companies that print all 7 pages of the standard mailing form, even though you're only using section A. With AccuZip, we only print the numbers that pertain to that particular mailing. Let me scroll down a little bit, and right after I show you this, I'm going to show you how simple it is to add your logo to these reports. So there's our totals. Let's go down to the next one. Okay, so this is the NCOALink NCSI report. This shows you how many matches occurred. Remember, the 77 ones occurred from 19 to 48 months. And we'll go to the next one. This is your processing certificate. This is a kind of a thumbnail of your entire process on this date. Shows you how many forwardable moves, how many no forwardable addresses, how many boxes were closed, and foreign moves. Okay, we'll go to the next one. This is the NCOA result report. This is probably one of my favorite reports because this is a report that you could send to your customers. See, it's very important that once these changes have occurred, and if you're, for example, processing a list for your customer, it's very important that you give them a report or some mechanism, either a file that shows the new and the old address, so they can actually find it and update it, so the next time they give you their list, you now have the most current addresses possible. Now remember, it'll go back 18 months and give you the change of address, but during that period, after they go 18 months, they're going to become A and K matches, which remember, if they have a move, are not going to show you the move. So it's important that your customers also keep their list current. So we go in here and we see now the forwardable move. So you have the old address and the new address side by side. Now I could have my logo appear on every single page of this report as well. Currently, I only have the logo appearing as on the title page. Okay, we can go through there. And I'll show you guys how to not only add the logo, but I'll also show you how to add your email address, your company name, and all that good stuff. So then we have the count by state. We have probably over 50 plus reports that you can select, and the beautiful thing about it is it's all condensed into one PDF document that you can shoot off to your customer, and soon you'll be able to do it, generate this right to HTML. Pop it on your own, if you're hosting your own website, or pop it onto your hosting company. All you do is email your customer a link, bam, they have an HTML document of everything. And that includes all the reports we generate from AccuZip. That includes your mailing statement, your CAST certificate, even your labels. If you want to generate an HTML or TIFF JPEG or whatever, you can do that as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this document. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and go back to AccuZip, go back to the print report window, and in here I'm going to take one of the reports, like the move by recency report, and I'm going to modify the report. So now what I've done is within AccuZip's designer, you can choose, under report, you can choose optional bands. And this enables you to generate what's called a title band. Okay, now you can have the title band print on the same page, or you can have the title like a title page. So you can check new page after the title band is printed. So it'll print, like if you want to have a cover sheet and you're perfect binding this, if you have millions of records, you may have a half of an inch worth of changes. You can perfect bind them, you can spiral bind them, or whatever. You may want to have a title page, put your logo nice and big. Okay, so there's a lot of power in this report designer, and later on I'm going to tell you how to get some more information about the label designer and the report designer, because they're very, very powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now, to add your logo to the title band, and I can make this title band as big as I want. I can drag it down, make it 2 inches. I can double click on the title band, and I can specifically tell it how high I want the band. So I can say I want it to be 2.5 inches, and I click OK. To add a logo, all you do is you click on this tool called OLE. When you click on the tool, then you can drag and draw a box somewhere on your screen that you want it to be, release your mouse, and now you have several choices. So right now it defaults to an image file, so you can go grab an image file by choosing this browse button for control source. You can add an ISO like an icon, a BMP, a JPEG, a GIF, or an EMF. Okay, so all you do is you choose the picture that you want, go ahead and click OK, and now you have some options. Okay, if the source and frame are different in sizes, you can tell it to clip the artwork. So if I went ahead and clicked OK at this point, notice how it clipped the artwork. So I can resize it, so now it's its actual size, you see? If I make the box smaller, it's going to clip it. If I double click on it, I can choose go ahead and scale the content and retain the shape. So if I click that option and then I click OK, notice that the item now gets resized to whatever size I have the image. Now, to add your email address, your website address, your telephone number, all you do is click on the A tool. So just like any designer, PageMaker, Corel, go ahead and click your mouse where you want to begin typing, and then go ahead and type in your website address. If you want a phone number here, you can actually lock this function by clicking on the lock tool. Now you can click anywhere else and then begin typing. Okay, and over here I can click over here and then type in your name. Okay, so now that you have your individual objects on the form, what you can do is use your pointer tool to select the object. And now let's say we wanted all of these lined up. So we could move them kind of in position. We could highlight them all. We can either highlight them by dragging a marquee around them, or we can highlight them by clicking, shift clicking, and then you go ahead and you align them. You can also click them and then choose under font to change the font to whatever size or color that you want. Okay? And you can also adjust the size. Okay, so this part of it on designing the label and report templates, I'm going to explain later because we got some exciting news coming up towards the end of this conference, so make sure you stay. I'm going to go ahead and close this template. I'm not saving any changes. Now the cool thing is once you decide what reports you want to print, and there are a number of reports, count on zip, count on city, I mean there's just a number of reports, then you can save the report set and give it a name. I've called this one customer set. So this is the one I'm going to give to every one of my customers. So what we're trying to do is energize you, everybody, just because this is a huge industry, the mailing and data quality industry. You need to use the tools that we provide, and we provide a lot of tools in AccuZip. We're going to be having more webinars in the future on advanced and all this stuff, and I'll explain later. You need to utilize these tools to help generate revenue for your company. And all these niceties you do when you generate these reports, for example, take the time to put your logo, your email address, and your phone numbers on these reports because you do them once. And then you look more professional when you hand them to your client, and it looks like, you know, you've got a, you know what you're doing as well. And we're here to help you at any time. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to talk about a few things here I think you're going to appreciate. Okay, now I'm in a PowerPoint presentation. And I'd like to have you guys read along here, okay? Imagine, with AccuZIP6 5.0, you can process 100% of the CAS certified name and addresses list through a fully integrated licensed NCOALink service with a click of a button right from your desktop 24/7. There is no human interaction at all. The security is incredible. when you update, when your list gets transmitted using 128-bit encryption and compression, when those names and addresses are processed, you're only getting back the changes. So the new address and the old address never travel with each other. So they're never appended. So for example, when you use other services, typically they'll append the new address to the old address. So when they're traveling through the email or web or whatever, the new address and the old address are side by side so you can see them. With AccuZip, the information's uploaded, the other records are just they vaporize because it's done in memory, and then you only get back the moves. When it hits your computer, there's a third file that's used, which is a encrypted binary file that is used to update and make sure that we're updating the proper records in your database. It's the linkage between your old data and then the new data coming back. Now, if you make any changes at all, so let's say you upload the list and you've reformatted your database, like you've changed a letter A from a capital to a small and there was a move, that record's not going to be updated because we have to ensure that there were no changes made to your database on that record before we update it. The move update process is an inline process with your current process. So obtaining the new move information before you mail will help eliminate all of your undeliverable as address mail. This NCOALink service is updated on a weekly basis, every week, typically on Wednesday or Thursday of every week. So every single time that you do a mailing, you have that NCOA box checked. It's not going to take you any longer to process a list. Only with AccuZIP6 5.0 can you receive unlimited access to our licensed NCOALink service without having to pull out your credit card each time you want to process a CAS certified name and address list through the move update process. Never again will you have to worry about how many credits you have remaining before you have to pay again. Okay? So if you're processing and you have 100,000 credits, no matter how cheap you got them, even at 50 cents a thousand, once you use those credits up, you're going to have to pull out your credit card and buy more credits. With AccuZip, it's unlimited. You pay annually. One price, unlimited. Let's go to the next one. AccuZip plus the unlimited access to our licensed NCOA service, you now have the tools you need to increase your profits, generate higher return on investment, which will result in better retention of your customers. I mean, when you're mailing out mail for them now, and the pieces are actually getting to their intended recipient who would be interested in purchasing the offers that your client is mailing to them for, well, you're going to get a higher return on investment because now the address is going to be correct. Even if the address is forwarded to your customer and you use one of the auxiliary ancillary like address service requested, it goes to the new address where they moved, you still have their old address on the piece with that yellow sticker. So this is going to pick those up prior to mailing. And we at AccuZip have created new products and services with features that really revolutionize the way you work with data. And there's a lot of really exciting things that we've done that, and today's session is specifically on NCOA. I can't wait to do the next one. We've got some really cool webinars coming up. So let's go to the next one. Something to think about. What are others charging for the service? The same service you're getting with AccuZIP6. Well, let's start with Anchor Computer. Okay, now to be fair, we can't compare our service with their service that turns the data back in 48 hours or even 24 hours. Because as you can see, 100,000 records will come back in less than a minute. So the only service that we could even compare with was their 3-hour priority service. And if you had 50,000 records, you're going to pay $175 minimum, and that's to run it once. So you have to prove to the post office that you've run it within 95 days of mailing. So at the minimum, you'd have to run it 4 times for the entire year. So if you ran that 4 times, it's going to cost you, off the top of my head, $700. Okay, let's go to List Cleanup. Okay, listcleanup.com is also another one, and the best one I could find was their same-day service, and they have a little caption that says within 3 hours, if the list is submitted by noon Central Standard Time, and it's fully automated. And only in that situation you can get it back within a 3-hour period, and it's a $95 minimum. Anything over 75,000 records, you have to call for a quote. So if you think outside the box, if you have AccuZip and you're providing unlimited access for your customers, right? Are you going to charge by the record? No. Okay, let's look at some valuable information here. How can you position yourself to retain customers and increase your profits? Well, you already know. You have a known flat cost for a product. It's $795 a year for the NCOALink service from 0 to 18 months. Unlimited. You can process or list every week. So what do I recommend? I recommend charging your customer a flat rate for the whole year. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and submit the next poll question, and then we're going to continue. Hold on a moment here. Okay, let's go ahead. If everybody could take just a moment. Let's go ahead and answer this question. Now this one is on a typical mailing list processed through our licensed NCOA service. What would you guess the average move percentage is? Now this is a little tougher question, even for the people who use the service. You guys are doing great. By the way, I think I told you at the beginning, but this webinar was more than our expectation. More people are attending this webinar than beyond our expectation. So we're super, super happy. As a matter of fact, it's so popular, we're going to definitely do this one again, and we're going to have many, many more in the future. Okay, are you all finished voting? We're pretty close. We've got a few stragglers coming in. This is a tougher question than before. It's going to close in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, here are the results. See, Kristen and Dave, I've always told you we got smart people that use the AccuZIP6 product. Very smart, the smartest in the industry. You guys are, 63% of you are absolutely correct. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. It looks like the people that are guessing that are the people that actually use it now. So this is good. Now, the 26% on a first-time run, that would be about right on a first-time run. But remember, we offer unlimited, so you're going to run that list again maybe next week when we update the server, and it's going to be every week, every Wednesday, so you're going to have more changes of address. So let's go ahead and hide the result and get back to our slides. Okay, now when I was talking about how do you position yourself, what you're going to want to do is charge a flat rate. Now, your flat rate may be based on the volume the customer does. For example, if you know you're going to do one mailing a month for a periodical mailer and they're doing 2,000 pieces a month or whatever, and so you have 24,000 pieces, you may set a pricing structure that's like $99 a year or something like that, and for that customer. So you just tell them that every single mailing that they bring to you will not only be CAS certified, DPV coded, LaxLink coded, because all that comes with your CAS, but it will also be processed through an NCOA, and for that price, you're going to provide them with the reports that they need to update their database. That is an extremely valuable service. You're not nickel and diming them to death. You're not charging them for every single time you do it, and it just makes a better customer relation if you do it that way. And then you can tier it. If they're doing between 100,000 and 500,000 pieces a year, maybe, you go up to maybe $3.99 or $5.99 or whatever the market will bear. And the cool thing is they can actually sit there, come into your office, sit by the computer, and you can give it to them within just a couple of minutes. When must you begin processing your mailing list through the NCOALink? A mailing entered in on November 23rd, that's the deadline. You must bear addresses that have been updated no earlier than August 20th. So, if you're going to drop a mailing on November 23rd or after, on November 23rd, just take that specific date, you would have had to prove that you ran it through a move update process no earlier than August 20th. So August 20th, 21st, or so on, you'd have to prove that you actually did that in order to get any discount, barcoded discounts. Authorized methods to qualify for the move update standards. NCOALink process. This is the absolute simplest method. This is the one we've shown you just a few moments ago. Another method is fast forward MLOCR process on letter size mail only. What that does is your mail is scanned through a multi-line character recognition hardware, and then your list is then updated. Now you can also do a post process after the pieces. This is a post process, the fast forward MLOCR process. So it's after you've printed your labels. But that's okay because a lot of the equipment can link or tie into your database and do it after the fact anyways. But then you're going to have the new address sprayed on the piece. You can use the one code ACS in conjunction with the intelligent mail barcode and a business entity ID. So basically you can begin using the intelligent mail barcode. You have to be one code ACS participant through the post office. AccuZIP6 now provides the intelligent mail barcode as a part of AccuZIP6 free of charge. It's in your core product now. If you're using version 5.03.48, which is the one on the June-July DVD, you already have intelligent mail. It's already built into the system. All you need to do is get a mailer ID. The instructions on doing that are on the intelligent mail barcode setup screen found under the additions menu. ACS. If you use this, an ACS participant code and the appropriate on-piece ancillary service endorsement, that means you print address service requested on your mail piece. That also brings you into compliance, but we'll read on here. You can use an appropriate on-piece service endorsement without ACS, but the most important thing is, you have to keep this in mind, is to complete the move update process to be compliant. When you do that, you're going to have to update your database. You have to incorporate that address change that you received, with a little yellow sticker, prior to your subsequent mailing. And they'll know that if you have or have not when you do your next mailing. Here's more valuable information. Mail pieces that use an alternative addressing format, for example, if you put John Doe or current resident, or you put the word occupant or postal customer, you're not subject to any of these move update standards. So if you wanted to continue doing it and not comply with all the new move changes, you could add or current resident or any of these other alternate format to the address block. Now what will happen is the piece will not be forwarded to the new person. It will remain at that address. If you are a mailing agent, let's say you're providing a service like a pre-sort bureau, and your client cannot prove that they have actually updated their addresses within 95 days of the scheduled mailing date, you cannot include those pieces, which may include their entire mailing, in any automation rate or pre-sort rate, first class or standard mail mailing after November 23rd. So you have to prove that you've run it through one of the services. There's only one exception, unless you are a fast forward licensed multi-line optical character reader. And then of course that would update your addresses. So remember, that's a post process. And finally, the addresses must be updated within 95 days before the addresses are actually used for a mailing. Okay, what are your options? Here they are. We're almost finished. If you're an AccuZIP6 customer, you can add the unlimited access to NCOALink service for a flat fee of $7.95 a year. Once you fill out the processing acknowledgement form for you and your customers, whoever you're processing it for, it takes just a few moments. We actually complete it for you. We do need your signature. You're up and running. So you can actually be up and running from start to finish within about 10 minutes because you already have AccuZIP6. You can add the enhanced NCOALink. You can add the AccuLink service to the NCOA if you want for an additional $5.99. That gives you the 48 months worth of matches. And you're matching up against 160 million permanent changes of addresses. If you're an AccuZIP6 user that processes your own list, this has to be an internal list, you will receive access to the NCOALink service free as part of the core product under these conditions, okay? Your paid renewal was received on or after June 1st of 2008. You are not a service provider a pre-sort bureau, a mail house, a letter shop, or provide mailing or list hygiene services for others. You must own the name and address list that you will be processing through our licensed NCOALink service. And the process will be limited to 5,000 records per day. Okay? So if you multiply that out, that's pretty good. So you're going to receive the NCOALink service free, 5,000 records per day. You'd be looking at 1.8 million records a year. All right? Not too bad. But you can only run 5,000 records in a 24-hour period. So it's really designed for those people who use AccuZIP6 to do their own mailings. And let's say you had 10,000 records in your database, right? You have 10,000 records in your database. You just simply do 5,000 today. You mark them. You show the background and run the 5,000 records the next day. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close that up. And we're going to go back to the AccuZIP6 software. Give me a second here. Okay, we've got 5 minutes left, and I wanted to just take a moment and go over a couple of things. Showed you the cost. In concluding, it's very important that everybody knows that we are here to help you anytime you need help. So I'm going to go ahead, and if you've not been here, you definitely need to go here, AccuZip.com. If you need help, you click on the support link, and all of these support options are available to you absolutely free. 15-minute guaranteed response on emails and faxes. You have live chat. You can just simply click it, click the chat button, and you're immediately chatting with a live person. Definitely use our support absolutely positively. We want to help you. Okay, if you want to watch this webinar again, we're going to post it in about 48 hours, maybe check Monday. You'll see the full stream. Future webinars, this is the exciting thing. We're going to have future webinars on label and report design. We're going to show you how to create new label templates from scratch. You're going to learn how to incorporate variable data, graphics, and color. All variable, changes based on the data in your database. We're also going to show you some powerful tips and tricks. It's just going to be a wonderful class, probably as popular as this one. Then we're going to have other webinars, some on AccuZIP6 basics, just the basics of AccuZip. We're also going to have an advanced AccuZIP6 course, and these are for the users that have probably been with us from day one for 17 years. You're going to really appreciate this, and there'll be several things in that webinar that you don't know. On the scripting, we're going to have a webinar all on scripting. You're going to learn the power of scripts, how to build them, how to implement them, how to cut down on repetitive tasks and be more productive. You're going to use the script monitor, which is built into AccuZip. Others charge thousands of dollars for this, what's the equivalent of our script monitor. You're going to be able to set up hot folders. So when you drop files in there, they will actually process automatically. And some of you are asking, okay, if you renewed earlier this year, can you take that that offer with the free NCOALink? The answer is no. You have to do it. You had to renew by on or after 6/1. But what we do is we're going to have a special pricing set up, very, very nominal fee, very small. You can also renew early, like if your subscription is not due until November, for example. You can renew now, and then we can begin you now, and then you get the free access all the way through the end of your subscription. So for those of you that maybe renewed earlier this year, or you're not going to have to renew for a couple of years, and you want to take advantage of that free 5,000 record a day, remember you have to process your own list, then please send an email to sales@AccuZip.com, SALES@AccuZip.com. And then it's very important that you put your customer account number. That's that 10-digit number that begins with a 77. You can find that under the additions menu. So if I go back to AccuZip, if you don't know what your account number is, you just simply pull down additions to activate product, and right here at the bottom is your customer account number. Make sure you include that in your email if you're interested in that 5,000 record per day. And then some of the other ones we're going to have on that is the AccuZIP6, thinking out of the box. We're going to show you how to create new services and profit centers with AccuZip, and we're going to also show you some cool tips on increasing your profit and generating a ton of revenue with this AccuZip product. So we're trying to give you the tools at a fair price so you can take this product and make it extensible, bring in your own source code, or you can just take it and run with it and make money. That's the whole thing, is to take this software and make people happy. Okay? I'm very, 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 very happy that everybody attended this. I'm going to go ahead and close that. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. And I'd like Dave, you have anything to add to it, or Kristen? Go ahead, Dave. Is there something that we can do, Dave, with the questions that you didn't answer? Could we answer them and post them somewhere, maybe on our webinar page? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Dave, the best way to keep the lines free, I think the email would be good. This way you have it documented, email or chat. And Kristen, do you have anything to add? Very good. Yeah, and a cool thing about that, yeah, Kristen, great work. And the cool thing about that website she just mentioned, which is www.accuzip.com /webinar, is on that page within the next 48 hours or so, you will be able to see our next webinar and when that is and the countdown to that. So keep an eye on that, and you can register right from that site. Anyways, everybody, thank you for being a part of AccuZip. We have a great team at AccuZip here. We're developing every single day. We're here to help you. And everybody, have a great weekend. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and log every. Thank you.